Okay, so I've been waiting to do this comparison for a little bit because, first of all, this is my Action 5 Pro and I have it set up a certain way. And I wanted to make sure that the Action 6 was set up exactly the same way so that my comparison was like a one-to-one comparison with the accessories and the settings and everything. So I'm going to go over the stuff I have on this Action 5 first, which is a cage, screen protectors, and a 1/4 mist filter, which is the most important detail of the bunch of accessories that I have for the action cameras. So I like having the mist filter on there because it cuts some of that the digitalness of the action cameras because they tend to look very clinical and sharp, and this kind of cuts some of the sharpness and blooms the highlights. Much like on my Canon PowerShot V1, I have a 1/4 mist filter on there, so as you can see, it kind of softens the highlights a little bit. So let's get into the unboxing of the Action 6 and put on some of these accessories here. If you don't care about this part of it, you can skip to when I do the comparison video, and I'll put a timestamp as to when that begins. So I did pick up just the Osmo Action 6 Essentials kit because I didn't really want all the other accessories because I have some accessories from previous DJI Action cameras that I've owned and didn't need it. I have batteries, I have a tripod. Okay, let's see. The Action 6 lens cover is much larger than the Action 5 Pro lens cover. As I'm here putting together the accessories on the Action 6, I noticed that I should have noticed this when I bought it, but on the Action 5 Pro, the mist filter is a replacement for the lens cover that comes with the camera. But on the Action 6 Pro 6, the mist filter that I purchased is a filter that just slides over the stock filter of the Action 6, which is fine. It is an extra piece of glass on top of the glass, but I think that'll be fine for my purposes. Just take that into consideration when we're doing the comparison, that this has a filter on the lens and this filter is the lens. And also, if you're one of those that's like, why am I putting a screen protector on an action camera? Because as soon as you go in the water, the screen protector is going to come off. Usually when I take these cameras into the water, like the pool or the ocean, I do put it in a dive case just because with the microphones, like when you come out of the water and then say you wanted to go back to like vlogging or recording audio outside of the water, you do have to wait a little while for the water to leave the microphone so that it sounds okay. And I don't like to do that, so I put it in a dive cage so that when you come out of the water, it's good to go. So this is the KNF Concept cage that I got for the Action 6. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. It's just like this Amazir cage I had for the Action 5 Pro. Opens up one side, clicks in. All of these cages for action cameras are kind of the same. The Action 6 is just slightly wider and taller, but it seems like it's thinner. I don't know if that comes across on camera, but this is the Action 6. It's thinner, a little thinner. Not even that noticeable. But you can see here when you have the lenses next to each other that the Action 6 lens is much larger than the Action 5 Pro, and that's because of the wider aperture at a maximum of 2.0 versus 2.8. We have these all rigged up. I put together this little contraption here that holds two action cameras. I know that a lot of people on YouTube have done this type of comparison, so this is not new, but it's new to me because I've never done like a side-by-side camera comparison like this. And so we're just gonna walk around in the backyard. We're gonna test out the camera in different lighting scenarios and different lighting changes, like going from shade to sun, sun to shade, low light. And first of all, I gotta go over the settings as far as like how I like to set up my camera, because you know, when you go on YouTube and you look at reviews, and for myself, there's never been like someone who set up the camera exactly how I like it. And as you're watching this, you might say the same thing in that I don't set up my camera that way. But I'll go over the settings, and then we will put them side by side and do a test. I haven't yet set the Action 6 up, so I'm going to go through the settings on the Action 5 Pro, because I'm assuming you can set them up the same way. And real quick, let me get to my correct one here. Okay, so we're going to be shooting in 4K 24 frames per second, regular rock steady. I usually, for pretty much all my use cases, I don't go beyond rock steady. If I'm going on a theme park ride that's I know is a little extra rough, I'll put on rock steady plus, but sometimes not. I find that rock steady standard is fine. And you go to the image adjustment. The first thing we're going to go through is the exposure, and the exposure I have at minus 0.3 EV, and the shutter speed is bracketed at between 1/200 to 1/8000. The ISO is on auto, 100 to 1600, and that's how I set my exposure. I leave the white balance on auto because I find that it does just fine. The transitions from different lighting temperatures is okay. I know the cinematographers out there would like criticize that using auto white balance, but I find that it's okay for my purposes, especially when you're traveling, because you don't want to be like setting manual white balance and stuff like that. So of course we're on D-Log M for the color, and the image adjustment. I kind of changed how I did it. I used to have the texture and the noise reduction, which is like the sharpness and the noise reduction, like all the way down. I do leave the noise reduction at -1 instead of -2, because I find that when you're shooting in D-Log M at night, a little bit of in-camera noise reduction is okay, because that's something that I don't really want to do in post, because it kind of slows down the workflow. So I do have the noise reduction at -1 instead of -2. That's pretty much all the settings you have in here. So these cameras will be set up the same way, and we're just gonna walk around and test it out. So this is gonna be a little side rant, but I know a lot of you who shoot on DJI cameras are familiar with the fact that you have to register the products, which I kind of don't like doing, because if I bought the camera, I should be able to turn it on and use it. Like I don't like having to register products that I own. And it even says like you have 5 times to skip this step, or I don't know what happens to the camera, it blows up or something. But I own the Extra Muse, which is basically a Pocket 3 clone. And when I purchased it, there was no registration process. And so why does DJI force you to register the product before you can even use it? I love the products. I don't like that process. Anyway, sorry. I can't believe I shot an entire comparison video here in the backyard with the settings different. Like what I did was on the Action 5 Pro, I always have it set to like standard D warp as the field of view, because I like the lines to be straight. And on the Action 6, I had it set to wide. I did the whole comparison. So we're gonna throw that out. Now we have them both set to standard D warp. I'm also using the internal audio for both of these. Our backyard seems to be pretty noisy a lot of times with the pond or the aquaponics system dumping water, and you got the AC compressor over there. So this would be another like good test for how the internal microphones are on both of these cameras, and I'll switch back and forth between these two just so you can get an idea of like how the audio sounds. And also, if you see me poking at the cameras like this, it's because I have the screen set to time out after a certain period of time, usually like a minute. And that's because when I take an Action camera on like a ride at Disneyland, I don't like the LCD screen to disturb anybody's experience on that ride. So I have it set to just go to black and we just film and you don't see the screen. But we're gonna walk past the noisy air conditioning compressor. And where I found in the past, like action cameras like this, when I had like the Action 3 and 4, they struggled going from like being in the shade like this, like out into the bright sun. So we're gonna test how these two do. I mean, how the 6 does compared to the 5. The 5 did struggle with that a little bit, like going from shade to the sun. What else should I mention here? So let's just get out. Let's just start. Let's test it. Let's just go. So we're gonna go into the bright sun here, and going back to what I was saying about the shutter speed, I do have it set to 1/200 to 1/8000 because I find that anything lower than 1/200, the stabilization does not work properly. So let's close this gate here. All right, so we're gonna turn around. The sun is back there, so we're kind of backlit right now. I'm gonna tilt the camera down so that you can get an idea of what these cameras do when the subject is backlit. And you can also kind of see what the quarter mist filter does with a very bright light source. It tends to soften the edges a little bit. And what we're gonna do here now is go from a bright backlit situation and walk into the shade and see how the exposure adjusts. Okay, coming back around to the shaded side of the house where the light is very even. This should be a pretty easy job for the auto exposure on these two cameras. Get to the end here. You come around. As I'm looking at these two front monitors here, I noticed that the way that it renders color is a little different. The Action 6 seems to be a little more on the green side, and the Action 5 is a little warmer, more toward the magenta. We're gonna see how that plays out when I apply the Phantom LUT that I like to use. Like my favorite of the Phantom LUTs is the RE Neutral. It's kind of meant to like mimic the RE Alexa. I am a fan of the Phantom LUTs in general, whether it's the Vision Teal or the Fuji Eterna. Those are they're good LUTs for these little action cameras. I believe they were designed for the Pocket 3, but I throw them on the Osmo action cameras too. It seems to be fine. Sometimes you have to dial down the intensity of the LUT and not apply it at 100%. It might be at like 75%. But nonetheless, there are easy ways to color grade the D-Log-M footage from these action cameras. So now the sun's here. Again with the sun behind me. And the last thing we'll do before this video gets too long is we're gonna go inside, and I'm gonna be kind of in my darker living room just to see how these cameras do with the lowered dim artificial light. We're back inside. I had to redo that because I had the settings wrong, guys. So the living room here is dark, aside from the Christmas tree here. Which, by the way, a lot of times when you film with these cameras, like the LED lights flicker. Both of these cameras have like a flicker reduction setting that I have the flicker reduction set to auto. So if you're filming Christmas lights, they won't flicker as much. Are they flickering? I can't tell. Anyway. Let's go back upstairs. Let's jog it up the stairs to see how this thing handles when you're jogging it. Alright. back in the room. Yeah, and in this is the kind of like a more ideal light so that I can see the difference in the monitors. I don't know if it's just the way that the auto white balance is, but the Action 6 is definitely more toward green. I do like how this one looks out of the camera. We'll have to see how that works with the LUT, but I'm experiencing this along with you. I haven't really tested any of this. I didn't do this beforehand, and then so. But I hope you enjoyed this very casual, unscientific comparison video. I appreciate anyone who stuck around this long to watch this thing, and as always, thanks for watching.